Okie dokie. So, thank you for coming. This is the Further and Higher Education Focus Day for the Carbon Literacy Project. It coincides with the Youth Empowerment Day at COP26. Much of our team are up there now, and we're sort of holding down the fort back here in Manchester and running different sectoral focus days across the fortnight to showcase all of the amazing stuff happening across the different sectors that we work with. So this session today is going to be all about fantastic student trainers from multiple different institutions. So we have more and more universities interested in getting their students involved in training, and we're getting more and more students getting in touch saying that they want to deliver training, which is absolutely fantastic. We've got student trainers past and present from Manchester Metropolitan University and some current trainers from the University of Cambridge here today. It's very interesting, the two different sort of routes into student training that the students from the different institutions have gone down. For example, at Manchester Met, so they have their student cascade model where any student who's been through carbon literacy training is then invited to join the Train the Trainer programme. So this is 6 weeks on Wednesday afternoon of training around the sort of soft skills, facilitation skills, presentation skills needed to deliver carbon literacy training effectively. They then work towards their carbon literacy trainer certificate and deliver carbon literacy across the university and more recently outside of the university as well. So that was predominantly organised by academics and the environment team at Manchester Metropolitan. On the other end of the spectrum, we have some fantastic trainers from the University of Cambridge here today. This was a very student-led initiative. So some of the students, and Will and Mim will tell you more about this later, but they found out about carbon literacy, wanted to get it started at the University of Cambridge. They joined some training with Manchester Metropolitan, and it has now grown into a flourishing initiative at the University of Cambridge. And I believe they're also starting to now think about delivering carbon literacy to external organisations. So super exciting stuff, really keen to see more and more students getting involved in carbon literacy. So if you are university staff, I would encourage you to try and include students in as much training delivery as possible. It's fantastic for the students, it's great for their employability skills, as has been demonstrated by Manchester Metropolitan University winning the Tomorrow's Employees Green Gown Award, recognising the employability benefits that their student trainers have gained through the initiative. And also it's great for your training capacity, so you'll find that you can deliver so much more training across the institution as you would if it were just staff delivering the training. And if you're a student, then I would encourage you, if you're in a position where your university isn't coming through and aren't delivering carbon literacy, then the Cambridge students today will show you that you can do it yourself and you don't necessarily need it to come from the top down. It can come from both ways, and there are some fantastic new student-led initiatives taking place. And if you'd like to know anything more about that or other initiatives that are happening in the sector, how to get students involved, and about the upcoming Train the Trainer toolkit, please do get in touch at education@carbonliteracy.com. I will now pass over to our fantastic student trainers and our higher education placement student, Anna, to tell you more. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Chloe. So I thought we could go around first and just introduce ourselves. So just say our names and kind of what we study, or I think Ash is joining us later, who's a graduate of MMU, so she can come in later and say what her job title is and things. But if we start with Will and then move on to Min and then over to Cam.
Yeah, hey everyone, thank you so much for inviting me. My name is Will. I'm a fourth year PhD student at the University of Cambridge studying tumour immunology.
Sorry, also, can we also say what made us become a trainer? So way to become a trainer.
Yes, I became a trainer because I read about carbon literacy online And I really wanted to get it set up at the University of Cambridge. So that kind of inspired me reading about what had been going on at Manchester and trying to replicate it at Cambridge.
Hi everyone, so thanks again for inviting us to this session. So I'm Xuan, I'm a second year engineering student at the University of Cambridge. So I actually took the course earlier this year and decided to become a trainer because I want to extend this opportunity to other people, because in that way we can admit more students to the course.
Hello, delighted to be here. So I'm Cameron and I'm a business master's student where I also work as a management consultant as well. And I actually became a trainer because I had finished my work in first year and I was recommended to do some extracurricular stuff by one of my tutors, and the Climate Champions one, which was to become a carbon literacy trainer. I thought the coaching side of it and the environmental side of it were appealing, so I decided to do it and it's been great.
Cool, great. Sorry, I'll ask Will first. So obviously, like Chloe said, you're quite different at Cambridge compared to us at MMU, having set up brought carbon literacy training to the university yourself. So I wondered if you could just say, like how you heard about it and came about it, and like sort of the process that you went along to bringing it at your university as well.
Yeah, sure. It was quite a weird process because it was very much bookended and or kind of in between the pandemic and everything happening there. So I kind of started thinking about it at the start of 2020, because at the University of Cambridge we have this project extracurricular thing called Engage for Change, which effectively encourages students to come up with an environmental initiative and see it through. And that could be anything from, increasing the amount of recycling bins in your department to like setting up a new society, etc. So it can be like any kind of a range of things. And one thing that I always thought, because I was an undergrad before as a postgrad at the university as well, and I always thought that the kind of environmental education was very much lacking at the university, unless you specifically did a degree which was related to climate. So that was always in the back of my mind. And when I had the opportunity to do this kind of like project and you get some support from the university, I thought it would be a really nice idea to have something education-wise. And I'd Googled online and I saw that Manchester Metropolitan had just been doing this thing with carbon literacy, and they've been getting it up and running. So I kind of just sent a speculative email, really. I wasn't expecting too much from it. It was just whilst I was gathering information, and I got an email back literally the next day, so friendly and really like, yes, super supportive. And I was like, this sounds like a really cool opportunity and it's going to be great. So yeah, kind of spent a lot of time emailing Chloe and emailing Helen, who's also with the Carbon Literacy Project. And then obviously pandemic happened, we all kind of went into lockdown. It all like slowed down a little bit, but then once everyone got to grips with what was going on, and Manchester or the MMU have just created their kit and just published it, we kind of got in contact with them and said, would you be happy to train some of us at the University of Cambridge to then be able to go and deliver it? And they said, yes, definitely. So we advertised for 10 people at the University of Cambridge to come along and get training with Manchester Metropolitan. Managed to get some funding from the university to pay for the certification costs and fees. So we went virtually over to Manchester and got trained, came back to the University of Cambridge, got the toolkit and basically got cracking, and started the first sessions in Michaelmas term of 2020. So that would be October, November time. And we've been doing sessions basically every single term since then. So yeah, it was quite an elongated process, but it was only because of the pandemic and everything like that. Actually, when you come down to the key points, it was very much, yeah, it was very, very easy to do, I think. So yeah, that's a very whistle-stop tour of how it came about in Cambridge.
Oh, that sounds really good. Sorry, I'll just introduce Ash as well, who's just joined us. If you just like to say, introduce yourself and say as well why you become a trainer, and your job title too, because obviously you're an alumni of Manchester Metropolitan and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I apologise profusely for my IT issues in the first place. So hello everyone, my name is Ash. I'm a climate change officer with Manchester City Council, and I'm the head and I lead up in the north for community climate-based action. So I've been a carbon literacy trainer for 3 years. I think I graduated 3 years ago now, which is somewhat frightening now I say it out loud. And I studied to be a trainer through the university, teaching fellow students alongside my bachelor degree, which was in environmental management and sustainability. So that's how I've come into carbon literacy. I'm still associated now. It's still coming very much into my job role. We're trying to implement it in schools at the moment, so I'm working with some colleagues in education. I'm also working with a local group in Manchester who are now training young carers, and I believe we're going to be working with some schools up in the north to use the toolkit, which has been adapted for head teachers as well. So lots of wonderful ways. I'm still very happy to say that I'm still engaged with carbon literacy.
That's really good to see, because I was going to ask you how you sort of taken it forward into your like sort of career, I suppose, after graduating, but it seems like it's embedded quite a lot in everything you do, which is really nice to see as well. No, sorry, carry on.
No, absolutely. I just think it's just so applicable. It's such a useful toolkit. Even day to day, I'd say I still have the practices and the lessons that I learned in carbon literacy sort of as I communicate with, whether it be that with residents or with my financial department or with school children, which we do quite regularly, that the skill set that you learn through becoming a trainer of that emotional intelligence, if you want to call it, that climate conversation, how to adapt that conversation is a key. It makes my job a lot easier. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Cam, I was going to ask as well, because you were saying, is it you are trying to become carbon literate consultant as well, is it? And sort of, I wondered if you could talk about kind of the process that you plan for doing that, and also the other things, I suppose, that you kind of have planned for the future in terms of going from carbon literacy training into those.
Sure. Okay. So since I've been a trainer for the last 2 years, alongside my degree as well, where I get consultant experience, they've really complemented each other. So now that I've got more experience in both of them, I'm hoping to start doing projects for, I'm not sure whether it'll be private or public organizations, but probably private businesses, to do my course design and consulting with them. It's hard to say what the plan for the future is, because I've got so much and I don't really want to narrow down too much. But essentially, because I've been training for a little while and I enjoy it so much, the plan is to be an entrepreneur and a social entrepreneur, so more based on social value rather than making lots of money. And so one branch of that will be the carbon literacy training, course designing and teaching, just with different market segments. The other one will be the carbon literacy consulting, where, as I've just explained, work with organizations to get it integrated into their business structure and management structure. And then the third prong will be like the trainer training, so it kind of makes like a 3-pronged but all interconnected social business model. So yeah, that's the plan.
That sounds really good. But yeah, I wondered if anybody else had any sort of future plans for kind of post carbon literacy training that they feel like they could take from carbon literacy into their future. It's okay if you don't have anything. I might be putting you on the spot a little bit there, but
no, I just say that I think the beauty of carbon literacy is that it can effectively cover any future career plan you have. Like, it's not, you don't just get taught about specific areas, it's very much you get the top level holistic skills that can apply to any career path or any area that you want to go into. And I think that's what makes it so great. And what I think is one of the massive strengths, especially when we do it, is the fact that you get people doing an English degree in the same room as somebody doing an engineering degree, in the same room as somebody doing psychology. Like, they would never have a chance to be in the same room talking together. And I think that's where carbon literacy shines, because you get like that cross-discipline talk that you don't usually get, even in the university setting, you don't usually get. So yeah, I think in that sense it's really good for thinking future careers.
So did you have anything else you wanted to add, Min, or?
No, I completely agree with what you said. Like, that's the beauty of carbon literacy. It can fit in literally any profession or just your everyday life as you're conversing with people. It gives you more basis and more support to the argument you're saying.
Yeah, because I initially had joined it for kind of the environmental side and taking climate action and things, but then I didn't realize kind of all the other beneficial skills that I would gain from it that have really helped me in other aspects of my life, like different jobs that I've applied for that I think I've been successful in getting just purely because I have been a carbon literacy trainer. So it is really good. But yeah, Min, I was going to ask, how do you feel, so being a trainer, how does that empower you in taking climate action?
Yeah, so my road to become a carbon literacy trainer. So like, because what I realized is that a lot of people, they are actually interested in learning about sustainability, but like sometimes we don't really know how to bring our faith in it, or when we want to make a conversation with people on this topic, we feel that we simply don't have enough basis to continue the discussion because we are not used to conversing within the sphere and we don't have a lot of knowledge in it. So my sessions, when I take the carbon literacy course, it was also run by students who volunteered as trainers, and that certainly has some impact on me. It just gives me this encouragement where even though we are still exploring about this topic and we might not even have extensive expertise on it, we can still do our parts and make our contribution to make an impact on the sphere around us, to make people aware of the little everyday actions that could make a difference, as well as what the main issues are on this sustainable pathway that we're all facing. And sometimes people often, I think they just feel excluded, or they don't know what actions they could take. But being able to play a part in spreading this kind of awareness and this introductory program is a very good experience because you get used to discussing with the people around you, and you just gradually get more comfortable with doing it because you know more about it and you have more facts to back up your points. So that's how I became it. And I just figured that if I could play a part in this as a volunteer, maybe a few more people will have the chance to take the course, and that would just extend the effect and compound it, extend the opportunity to more people.
Yeah, that's really good, because I feel like lots of people do want to make the right choices, I suppose, in terms of climate change, but they just don't know exactly what choice is the best choice to make. So I think, yeah, carbon literacy training is a really good way of obviously educating people, making them more aware of things. And I find it really great kind of teaching people and helping them understand the issues further. So yeah, I don't think we have any questions come through at the moment. But I thought perhaps we could just go around and sort of say what we enjoy most about being a trainer, and if there's anybody particularly, possibly in the audience who are maybe thinking of being a trainer or like need convincing to be a trainer, if there's anything that you would say to get people on board in becoming a trainer. Sorry, I'll go along in a line on who's first on my Zoom thing. So Will, if you're okay to go first.
Yeah, sure. I think my favorite thing about training, I think there's two parts. I think the first part is kind of what we just spoke about, which is getting people in a room together. And I think the break, or we've only done it on Zoom, so we call them breakout rooms, but like the group discussion part of it, I think is really, really good. And I think it's quite often for a lot of people, it's the first time that you have the opportunity to discuss climate one-on-one or in a group setting. And because quite a lot of people that take the course are maybe super engaged, but they haven't really had the chance to talk to others about it. They've either just been very much in their own area, or they've almost felt like they don't have like quote the facts to talk about these kind of things. So I think giving people a space to talk about, and like what Min said, to expand the knowledge and get more confident talking about these issues is really, really important. I think, yeah, I think also because obviously on the trainer side, you get to see people's pledges, and I think seeing people's pledges just gives me hope that, because obviously that all climate things, it can be quite daunting and it really can impact people's mental health. But I think, at least from my point of view, when I see every time people putting their pledges in and I see what extent people are going to, it does really give me hope that there is a way to a better future and a net zero future. So yeah, I think from a trainer's point of view, especially that is really nice to see.
Yeah, I really enjoy as well hearing, because in different sessions, everybody has something different to say. And even I feel like I learn something every time I go to a different session, even though I'm the one like training and teaching. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think also just being a trainer, but also knowing that there's like hundreds of different other opinions out there that you can just like listen into is really nice as well. Yeah, have a proper conversation. Yeah.
Min, if you'd like to go next.
Sure. Yeah, so I actually really enjoy the discussion session as well, which is like the breakout room. And because sometimes there are little activities in it, so it's really interactive and you get to hear opinions from different people, what they've done, as well as some of the challenges that they have identified that you might not have come across. I think that's a very good session to kind of exchange views in the small group setting, which is not what we normally would have. We really like that part.
Cam, if you'd like to go next.
Yeah, there's loads of things that I really enjoy about it, to be fair. I mean, I find it fun in the first place, just the nature of the job is well suited to my personality. So that obviously helps. And like, I'm extroverted, so I love working with people. And so that whole side of it just makes it really fun. Most of the time, everyone wants to be there and is very engaged and wants to contribute and stuff. So that's always nice as well, having engaged learners. As we've already said, like, the discussions, really enjoy the discussions. That's another one. And I also feel like I learn something pretty much every time I do a session, whether it's with the staff or the students or counselors or something. You kind of get glimpses into lots of different people's lives and all the different areas that they're going to be doing or committing their actions and pledges to. As Will said, it does give you a lot of hope, and you get to see kind of how all these different elements of society or different job roles, different contexts and that kind of thing, how all of them are being addressed in ways that you wouldn't even think. Watching people who, because I'm in the kind of the business realm, so everything I do is businessy, but like when I'm working with counselors and stuff and you see them coming up with solutions, really cool solutions and actions for like local communities through council governance or something, it's like, wow, I had no idea you could do that, but it sounds really cool. And then it's just kind of reminds you that, you know, people are engaged and there's a lot of impact to be had in new creative ways, and, you know, all working together on it with our own specialties, but under the same sustainability umbrella. Makes me feel like I'm working kind of as part of a bigger team towards something bigger, which just feels great. So I really, really enjoy the work for that. In terms of people getting involved, like if you're listening to this, just like whoever's in charge, try and get them to get carbon literacy on the table.
Yeah.
And then just go for it. I did it. I like just kind of YOLO'd myself into it really, and it's just like snowballed. It's like it's like opening the door in that's the way I saw it. I opened the door with carbon literacy training at the start, and it's just like completely taken over for the better. So yeah.
That's good. Sorry, we'll quickly go to Ash and then we have the question come through. So hopefully we'll be able to answer that as well.
Sure, yeah, I think everyone in the room summed it up really well. I think one of my favourite things is just to be in a room full of diverse people, whether that was students from different backgrounds or different degree courses, or counsellors myself who work with in carbon literacy, but bringing people together with all different viewpoints and different starting points to have a really playful and meaningful discussion on climate change. It's one of my favourite things to do. I think the only thing that's not been mentioned is I like seeing the journey that people go on sort of throughout the day's training. They'll come in maybe not so engaged or not really sure what a carbon footprint is. And by the end of the session, when we're leaving, there's this really positive vibe that you see that people, something's like a light bulb's gone in their head and they're excited to go home and deliver their pledges. And I love seeing that transition over the day.
Yeah, it is really inspiring, like as you guys have said, hearing everybody's pledges and actions and all the engaging conversations as well. So we've got one question come through. So somebody's asked, how exactly does someone who wants to be a trainer go about it? So I suppose this sort of depends on what university or college they might be at. So obviously we're at MMU, we're slightly different in that there was already a carbon literacy project sort of set up there that we then became a part of. So perhaps, Will, you might be best positioned to answer this question if they don't have one at the university that they could access.
Yeah, sure. I can say kind of what we did in Cambridge and maybe what some of the key things to think about are. I think potentially the first thing is, as Cam was saying, getting buy-in from from people, and people that are maybe in charge of certain pots of money or in charge of certain societies that have reach is important. I think just getting it out there is important. I think also getting a group of like-minded people around you as well is really important, because I think obviously you can't deliver carbon literacy alone, and as I said at the start as well, the more people you get involved, the more people you can reach and the more it snowballs. So I think in terms of two key things, I think definitely getting buy-in from the university and getting some sort of funding there to start everything up, and getting some like-minded people around you that are really engaged and keen to deliver the course is really important. I think Chloe can probably also say a little bit more about it from the carbon literacy side as well.
Yeah, definitely. So the annoying answer to that question is, yeah, it depends. So for example, if you're a university who are already delivering carbon literacy training, I'd encourage you to find out who sort of oversees that initiative and get in touch with them, express your interest, etc., and see what happens from there. I will clear up, there's a common misconception, which is that you need to be a certified carbon literacy trainer in order to deliver carbon literacy training. That's not the case. You don't need to be certified. You don't need to have done a train the trainer program, although those things do help, of course. You just need to be confident in workshop facilitation and presentation skills, and you need to have that base knowledge around climate change, or preferably be carbon literate yourself. There is this sort of professional development route that you can go down. For example, the Manchester Metropolitan student trainers are certified trainers. Cam is working towards being a carbon literacy consultant. But yeah, it depends what your university is doing already, assuming that you are a student. And yeah, the advice that Will has given, if your university aren't doing it already, it's all about, yeah, working with other people at the university. I'm sure your students' union could be a great help in this, your environment team, any passionate academics that you know around the subject will hopefully be able to support you in that. But if you want to know anything more about that process, please do drop us an email at education@carbonliteracy.com.
I think, has another question come through? So somebody's asked what the difference between a carbon literacy facilitator and a trainer is.
That is a very good question. I should be more familiar with the difference between those two certifications. I don't deal too much with trainer certifications. I'm not sure if Will or Fiona, who are also in this call from the Carbon Literacy Project, can answer that. Otherwise, drop us an email and I can give you the sort of breakdown of those different qualifications. It is under the trainer heading on our website if you want to find out more about that. But all I can tell you for now is that there's basically 3 different levels of the sort of professional development route. The first being a carbon literacy facilitator, and the requirements for getting that qualification are sort of more accessible. And then there is the trainer certification, and then there's the consultant certification. And it'll just be the sort of portfolio evidence you need to submit for each one will be different, and facilitator will be the sort of easiest and most accessible. I see that Will's come off mute now. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, Will.
Yeah, no, I was just going to reiterate pretty much what you said, Chloe. So I believe that for the to become a carbon literacy trainer, there's more processes that you need to fill in. So there's the trainer application form and a self-evaluation form. So I feel that the facilitator scheme is more there to, so if you're interested in facilitating training, but you're not necessarily running the training yourself, but the carbon literacy trainer accreditation is sort of a more advanced accreditation that you can apply to. But yeah, I definitely direct you to our website where you can find out more information.
Thanks, Will. So I think we've come to the end of this allotted time slot now. Thank you so much, everyone who came and everyone who asked questions. And thank you to our fantastic student trainers. Really looking forward to seeing how training at Cambridge and Manchester continue to grow over the coming years. So thanks so much for joining. Next up, we have a trainer tips and advice session where you'll be seeing a couple of the people again from this call. And then later on, we have a interview with Steve Frampton, the Climate Commissioner from the Association of Colleges, talking all about carbon literacy for further education. So thanks for joining, and we'll see you at a later session.